The sun burned low over the Pacific horizon, painting the naval base in a golden haze as jets thundered off the runway. The air smelled of salt, sweat, and jet fuel. America's edge in motion. Lieutenant Commander Elena Torres watched from the tarmac, her helmet tucked under her arm, the wind catching the stray strands of her dark hair. She stood straight, calm, collected, too composed for the storm about to hit her. The Admiral was waiting. Vice Admiral Gregory Hale was known for two things: his hatred of protocol violations and his disdain for anyone who hadn't come up the traditional way. Torres represented everything he despised: a young, brilliant, a combat pilot who transferred from Air Force Special Operations to a joint naval command. To him, she was an outsider in his house. "Lieutenant Commander Torres," Hale barked, his voice carrying across the flight line, "I told you to report at 0800. It's now 0813. Sir, I was ordered by Major Walker to finish the systems check on the Falcon 7 before debrief." "Major Walker doesn't give orders on my base." "I do." The line of officers nearby stiffened. Torres said nothing. Her eyes flicked up, steady as stone. "Sir," she said evenly, "permission to speak freely?" "Denied." Hale stepped closer until the brim of his cap nearly touched her face. "You've been on this base for 3 weeks and already managed to piss off half the command structure. You ignore the chain of command, you fly when you're not cleared, and now you want to act like you are above orders?" "I'm not above orders, sir," she replied, her voice like ice. "But I don't need to explain combat readiness to someone who's never been shot at." A silence fell like a blade. The nearby pilots froze. Hale's jaw tightened, his face reddening. "Pack your gear," he snapped. "You're done here, Lieutenant Commander. You'll be escorted off base within the hour." Torres didn't flinch. She gave a short nod, saluted crisply, and turned to walk away. But the thing about bases like Thessia, especially Joint Ops Oneza, was that news traveled faster than aircraft. Within 30 minutes, everyone knew. By noon, her locker was empty, her badge deactivated, and her duffel bag sat by the gate like an exile's luggage. She sat there quietly, watching the flight line. A Black Hawk passed overhead, carrying a SEAL team inbound from a classified mission. Dust blew across the tarmac. One of the SEALs spotted her, tall, broad, the unmistakable posture of an operator who'd seen too much war to care about rank. He stopped mid-step. "Wait," he said. "Is that a broken bar, Torres?" The others froze. "You mean Legend?" Another muttered, his eyes wide. The first SEAL nodded. "No damn way." "That's her." The air seemed to shift. Within seconds, half the team had dropped their packs and walked over. Hale noticed from across the yard. He frowned. Why were his SEALs talking to someone he just kicked off base? Torres stood, unsure what was happening. The lead SEAL, Commander Blake Havoc Madsen, approached her with a grin. "Didn't expect to see you here, ma'am," he said. "Last time we saw you, you pulled our asses out of a kill box in Kandahar." Hale, watching, strode toward them with quick, angry steps. "What's going on here?" he barked. Havoc turned to him, frowning slightly. "Sir, with all due respect, who authorized kicking Legend off base?" "Who?" Hale snapped. "That pilot's a liability." "You know her?" Havoc let out a low laugh. "Know her, Admiral? That woman's the reason half my team's alive. She's not just a pilota, she's Reaper Legend." Every SEAL there straightened. Then, in a movement that made Hale's blood run cold, the entire team raised their hands in salute. Torres didn't move. Her face stayed unreadable, though a muscle in her jaw twitched. Hale blinked, his voice breaking slightly. "Reaper broken bar what?" "Call sign A Legend, sir," Havoc said. "F-22 Strike Commander, Special Operations Support Wing, Task Force Dagger. She's the one who took out that insurgent convoy on zero visibility, a solo, 3 SAM-locks, no backup, no radar. She earned her call sign because nobody else would have lived to tell it." The Admiral's mouth went dry. He remembered the classified report. Operation Glassthorn, an F-22 pilot code-named Legend, had gone dark for 6 hours, reappeared over enemy airspace, and neutralized 32 hostile targets while protecting a pinned-down SEAL platoon. The mission was marked top secret, AIs only. "You're that pilot?" he whispered. "Yes, sir," Torres said softly. "I was." The Admiral swallowed hard. The SEALs were still standing at attention, their eyes filled with something Hale hadn't expected: a reverence. He tried to recover his composure. Why didn't you say that?" Torres tilted her head slightly. "You didn't ask, sir. And respect doesn't come from what's on paper, it's earned." Hale opened his mouth, then closed it again. His authority seemed to wither under the weight of the moment. Havoc broke the silence. "Sir, if she's off this base, then you're going to have to explain to the Joint Command why the Air Force's top Black Ops pilot just got thrown out for being 15 minutes late after running a systems check." Hale's face twitched. He glanced around at the watching officers, the enlisted personnel pretending not to stare, the SEALs standing rigid. He could feel control slipping like sand through his fingers. Torres adjusted her duffel bag. "Permission to depart, sir?" But before Hale could answer, a familiar whine filled the air. A comms tech ran toward them, headset pressed to his ear. "Admiral!" he shouted. "Emergency scramble order from CENTCOM Priority Alpha. 2 unidentified radar contacts heading for Carrier Group Delta. They need F-22 coverage now." The Admiral froze. His best pilots were either out on rotation or under maintenance lockdown. Torres didn't move. "Sir," the tech said, breathless. "They're requesting Legend specifically." Every head turned toward her. Hale's throat went dry again. "Get her back in the air," he managed to say. Torres hesitated, then nodded once. "Understood." Within 5 minutes, she was back in flight gear. The ground crew scrambled like a storm around her jet. The SEALs stood at the edge of the runway, watching her climb into the cockpit of her F-22, a sleek, black, the nose painted with a small silver skull surrounded by wings, the same one that had earned her the name. Her comms lit up as she taxied. "Legend, tower confirms launch clearance. Targets inbound, 2 unknown aircraft, bearing 290, speed Mach 1.7. Copy, tower," she said calmly. Legend rolling. The jet roared down the runway and lifted into the sky like vengeance made of metal. The sound echoed over the ocean, rattling windows and hearts alike. Up there, at 35,000 feet, it all came back as the noise, the silence, the pulse that only existed between radar blips. She saw the incoming bogies, a fast, erratic, unmarked, not commercial, not friendly. Legend to command, a visual confirmed, 2 hostiles, looks like stealth variants. Engaging. Copy, Legend. Weapons free. Her fingers danced over the controls, smooth, flawless. The first missile Lockheed she fired, rolled, and dropped behind a cloud bank before the return fire even reached her previous coordinates. A flash lit the sky. 1 target down. The second dove hard, banking left. She pursued, pushing the F-22 past its threshold. Alarm screamed in the cockpit, but her breathing never changed. She matched its every move, anticipating the pilot's thoughts before he acted. "Command, splash 2, she reported. Both targets neutralized. Cheers erupted across the command center. On the ground, Hale listened in silence. When Torres landed 20 minutes later, the base was waiting. SEALs, pilots, crew, dozens of uniforms lined the tarmac. As she stepped down from the cockpit, they all saluted. Not out of duty, out of respect. Hale approached slowly. The arrogance was gone from his stride. He stopped in front of her, his voice softer than anyone had ever heard it. "Lieutenant Commander," he said quietly, "I owe you an apology." "Not necessary, sir," she replied. "It is," he insisted. "You've done what few ever could. You saved lives again." "I was wrong to question you." Torres regarded him for a long moment. "Sir, I didn't come here to prove anything. I came to serve." He nodded. "Then I'd be honored to have you back on this base permanently. You'll have full flight command authority. Report to Ops at 0600. The SEALs cheered. Havoc grinned wide. "Told you she was a legend," he said under his breath. Torres gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. "I was never gone," she said, and turned toward her jet, the sun glinting off her visor. Later, as night fell and the base returned to its rhythm, Hale stood alone on the observation deck, watching her F-22 parked under floodlights. The call sign Legend gleamed faintly on its side. He finally understood what it meant. It wasn't a title. It was a warning and a promise, that no matter how many tried to ground her, Elena Legend Torres would always rise again. And everyone on that base, from the Admiral to the lowest recruit, knew one thing for certain after that day. When the SEALs salute a pilot, she's not just part of the story, she is the story.